Hey everybody, this message is about the test review, and this is number 21 and 22. Goodness. Okay, so 21 has a bunch of words, but I just picked out the most important parts that you need to pay attention to. So it says f of x equals x to the fourth. This is the equation that we're going to use to get a y value in a second. Then it says the instantaneous rate of change is 108. That's our letter M, or our slope. Okay, x equals 3, that's the x value. Okay, now it says, what's the equation of the tangent line? That's y equals mx plus b, where there's a number where the m is and the b is. So, out of all these letters, it looks like I got my m, I got my x, I got my x and my m. I don't have my b and I don't have my y. But earlier I said, to get your y value, we're gonna plug in this x value of 3 into this f of x equals x to the fourth. So right now we're about to find our y value. So we're gonna plug in this 3 into the letter x's. So f of 3 equals 3 to the fourth. And I think that's 3, 9, 27, 81. So that 3 is your x value and that y is your 81. Okay, now I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna plug in this 81 for the letter y, the 3 for the x, and the 108 for the m. This might be one of the easiest problems on this test. So for y, I'm gonna put 81 equals, m is 108, x is 3, and it's multiplying, and then plus, we don't know our b. That's what we're trying to figure out. Okay, now we're gonna get b by itself. So 108 times 3 is 324. So this is 81 equals 324 plus b. Then now you're going to get b by itself by subtracting 324. And we get negative 243. And that's my letter b. Okay, now I'm going to go up and I'm going to plug them into this y equals mx plus b. Only I'm gonna leave the letter x and y as letters this time in the final answer. And then now I'm gonna put numbers in for m and the b. So I'll have the same letter y equals my m was that instantaneous rate of change. That's 108 x. And then my b is the number negative 243. Hey baby, we just came up with the equation of the tangent line. Your homework might do it a little differently, but it still takes this answer. And this is, I think, the simplest way. So I didn't want to show you the harder way. Okay, on number 22, it gives us kind of an equation. It looks funky. It's not quite f of x anymore. Now it's r of x, but that's the same thing as f of x, so don't freak out. Okay, and then they give us an equation, 1 plus 2x squared. Then they want us to find r prime of x, r prime of 1, r prime of 2, and r prime of 3. So once we get to these last three, all we have to do is plug in 1 into the x's of whatever we get for this first answer. Or plug in 2 for the x's of whatever I get for this first answer. Or plug in 3 for the x's of whatever I get for this first answer. Okay, so we just have to figure out this first answer. So this first answer, I think it's in our notes, it looks like the formula to use is f prime x equals, oh gatos, limit h approaches 0, f of, I think it's at x plus h minus f of x. Yeah, all over h. Okay, so this is the formula that we're going to use, and even though it says f prime of x, it's the same thing as r prime of x, so don't panic. Okay, so first we have to figure out, this is where we figure out the top left, then the top right, then we plug it all in and we get to cancel stuff. So first let's find this f of x plus h. Or it's supposed to be the letter R instead of F for f of x plus h. I think I was supposed to write the letter R as R of x plus h. It's the same thing, only this problem starts with a R of x equals and the last problem starts with a f of x equals. That still means it's just a regular equation. Those are our, it's kind of like saying y equals. Okay, so we're gonna take this x plus h and we're gonna plug it in the x's on both sides of the equation. So even over here next to the 1 plus 2x squared, I'm gonna put 1 plus 2x plus h squared. Okay, then I'm gonna do this x plus h squared first, because that's the P and the E part of PEMDAS. Okay, so I'm gonna FOIL this beast. You don't have to FOIL, but however you multiply, it's probably FOIL, and you just didn't know it. Okay, so x times x is x squared. X times h is +1 +1 alphabet hx. I think I was gonna write that down right anyway. Whoops, I just panicked. Okay, then I is the insides, h times x, so that's another +1 hx. And then lastly, h times h is h squared. Okay, then when I write this all down, left to right, you have x squared plus 1hx plus 1hx plus h squared. And if I combine like terms, the only things that have the same butts are this hx. So those are the only ones I can actually add up. And Juan plus Juan is 2. So 2hx. Okay, that's not what this top left pink part is yet. We still have to apply the 2 that was multiplying with this x plus h squared. So I put 2 in the parentheses. And then I still have to bring down this 1 plus. Okay, so we just did the PE part of PEMDAS. Now we're going to do the M part of PEMDAS, as in multiply. So we still get this 1 plus, but now we have 2x squared plus 2 times 2, 4hx plus 2 times h squared, 2h squared. Okay, and then we check to see if we have any of the same like terms, like the butts are the same, but this has a butt of h squared, and that's totally different from hx, and that's different from x squared, and this is just a naked number. So we just found what r of x plus h is equal to. Yee. Okay, so we have to use this formula, and we already sort of did. We did this top left, so I'm just going to go ahead and write down what the top left of this formula is. It's 1 plus 2x squared, that's what we just got, plus 4hx plus 2h squared. Okay, then the formula says I'm going to subtract, so let me put a fat subtract, whatever f of x is. Well, f of x is the same as whatever letter we're using, r of x. And r of x is right here. It's what they gave us, 1 plus 2x squared. So I'm going to put that in parentheses, 1 plus 2x squared. And then it's all over h. And we had that limit h approaches 0 at the front. Okay, now we're going to start canceling and see what happens. So let's see if I can cancel anything. I have a big fat 1 at the very front. And then I have a -1 because there's a minus before this first parentheses. So you're minusing that 1. So since I have a +1 and a -1, the 1's cancel. Okay, then it looks like my x squareds are kind of similar. I have a +2x squared, but then when I distribute this negative, it makes a -2x squared, because negative multiplied to 2x squared is -2x squared. And then that cancels with this +2x squared. So the 1's canceled and the 2x squared's canceled. And it looks like all we have left is 4hx plus 2h squared all over h. And then there's still that limit stuff at the beginning. Okay, now we're going to cross out some h's. This h on the bottom crosses out with one of the h's from 4hx and one of the h's from 2h squared. So you're just with that crazy limit. You're left with this crazy limit stuff. And then 4x plus 2h. Yeah, okay. Then the very last step is to plug in 0 for this letter h. So if I plug in 0 for this letter h, I get 4x plus 2 times 0, and that's just 4x. Well, let's figure out what the heck this was equal to. Okay, 4x is equal to this, and all this junk came from this formula, and all this formula is equal to f1 f prime of x, and f prime of x is the same thing as r prime of x. So we just figured out part A, r prime of x. Woohoo! So the answer to part A is r prime x. Then for the rest of what we need to find, we can just use that 4x that we just got for our answer. And now we're going to find r prime of 1, where we plug in 1. Then r prime of 2, where we plug in 2. So we're about to find r prime of 1. And all you do is take this 1, and since it replaced the x in the parentheses, it's going to replace the x on the other side of the equals. So 4 times 1, and that's just 4. Woohoo! Then let's find r prime of 2, I think they wanted, and r prime of 3 they wanted. So we're going to plug in now a 2 into this 4x, and then now a 3 into this 4x. And I think we get an 8 and a 12. So part A, r prime equals 4x. That's part A. Part B, the answer is 4. Part C, the answer is 8. And part D, the answer is 12.